This is example 6. And example 6, we're going backwards from base systems. So it says to convert each of the following base 10 numerals to a numeral in the indicated base. So these numbers are going to be our base 10 numbers, and we're going to be changing them into another base system. Now, again, we did an example of this in the introduction, so I want to see how much you guys got out of that. So take a little bit. It may take you a little bit to try and figure this out, but I really want you to try. So go ahead and push pause now. Okay, so hopefully you took the time, and you may be really frustrated right now, and that's okay. We're going to figure this out. But if you've got it, then congratulations. That's fantastic. So our first thing is to say, okay, our first problem here says 234 in base 4. So we're going to be working with a base 4 system. That means that each place value is going to be a power of 4. So we're going to have our first position is going to be a 4 to the 0 times something, plus a 4 to the first times something, plus a 4 squared times something, plus a 4 cubed times something. Now 4 cubed, let's see, that's 64. Okay, so what if we went up again? 4 to the 4th power times something. Well, 4 to the 4th power is 256. There are no groups of 256 in 234, so that's out. We know that our biggest place value then is going to be 4 cubed. So now let's start talking about how do we get there. Well, we're going to try to figure out how many groups of 64 are there in 234. So to do that, we need to do the division. 234 divided by 64, and it will go in 3 times, and 3 times 64 is 192. So when we do the subtraction, we get 42 left over. So there are 3 groups of 64, and now we have 42 left over. Okay, so our next groupings are groups of 16, because 4 squared is 16. So 16 will go into 42 twice. 2 times 16 is 32. So when we do the subtraction, we get 10 left. So there are 2 groups of 16 with 10 left over. So now then we're doing a place value of 4 to the first, which is 4. So 4 goes into 10 twice with 2 left over. So there are 2 groups of 4 with 2 left over. And the last position is groups of 4 to the 0, which is 1. And there are exactly 2 groups of 2 2 groups of 1 in 2. So our number looks like 3, 2, 2, 2, base 4. Kind of cool, huh? All right, let's try the next one and see if you've got the hang of it. 1,876. That's our number. We want to change it over to a base 12 system. Okay, so think as we go. Our first position here is going to be a 12 to the 0. So we're going to have something times 12 to the 0. Those would be 1s. Plus, and then our second position would be 12 to the first. Those are groups of 12. Then our next position would be 12 squared, which is groups of 144. And then our next position would be 12 cubed, and 12 cubed is 1728. So we don't have to go any higher than that, because 1728 is really close to 1876. So there's no way that there would be any 12 to the 4th positions here. That would be way too much. So now we just need to figure out how many groups of each one of these are in here. So now we need to do our division. So 1876 divided by 1728, well, it's only going to go in there once. And when we do the subtraction, we end up with 148. So it goes, there are one group of 12 cubed with 148 left over. So our next position is 12 squared, which is 144. So 144 will go into 148 one time with 4 left over. So we have one group of 144 with 4 left over. Now this next position is groups of 12. 12 will not go into 4. So we have 0 groups of 12 there. And the last position is ones. So 1 will go into 4 times. We have 4 singles left. So this number in base 12 would be 1104 base 12. All right, let's do this next one, which is 303 in base 3. So again, we want to think about our place values. The first position would be 3 to the 0. I don't know why I can't write today. So we have so many singles, and then the next position would be 3 to the first. So we're going to look at groups of 3s. Then our next position would be 3 squared, so we're going to look at groups of 9. And then we're going to have groups 3 cubed, so we're going to look at groups of 27. And then we're going to have 3 to the 4th, which would be groups of 81. And then we're going to have 3 to the 5th, which would be groups of 243. So that's getting really close to 303. That means there's not going to be any groups of 3 to the 6. That would just be way too big. So now all we have to do is our division to figure out what those digits are going to be. So let's take our number 303 and let's divide it by 243. So it'll go in one time with how many left over? 60. So we have one group of 243 with 60 left over. Okay, 3 to the 4th is 81. So 81 will not go into 60, so we have no groups of 81 in there. Our next position is groups of 27. So we can take 27 into 60. So 27 will go into 60 twice, and that would be 54. When we do the subtraction, we're left with 6. So we have two groups of 27 with 6 left over. The next position is 3 squared, which is groups of 9, because 3 squared is 9. 9 won't go into 6, so we have 0 of those. The next position is 3, so we have two groups of 3 with nothing left over. And we have to have something in the ones position, so since we have nothing left over, we have to put a 0 there. So this number would be 1020 base 3. Hope you're beginning to get the hang of this. Okay, so our very last one here says 22 in base 2. Okay, so here we go. Since it's a base 2, we're going to be doing powers of 2. So it would be 2 to the 0, which would be singles, and then 2 to the first, which is groups of 2, and then 2 squared, which is groups of 4, and then 2 cubed, which is groups of 8, and then 2 to the 4th, which is groups of 16. The next one would be 2 to the 5th, which is groups of 32. That's too big, so we can stop now. Now we just need to do our division. So 2 to the 4th is groups of 16, so 22 divided by 16 would go in one time and leave us with 6 left over. So we'd have one group of 16 with 6 left over. Now the next position is groups of 8, because 2 cubed is worth 8. So 8 won't go into 16, so there are no groups of 8 in there. Our next position would be groups of 4, because 2 squared is 4. So we have one group of 4 with 2 left over. So one group of 4 with 2 left over. The next position is a 2. So we have one group of 2 with nothing left over or no singles. So this number would be 10110 base 2.